We're good? All right, so
All
we're
right.
here on day 2, CitizenCon. I've got the Astropub, I've got Morphologists.
Hey, what's going on?
I feel short. It's good times. So let's see. Yesterday, guys, we did a whole bunch of stuff that was less kind of squad. Well, everything was squadron focused, right? But like they've talked a lot about platforming and scanning and like interaction when it comes to squadron. We didn't really see too much of that yesterday, except for the scanning. Do you think we're gonna get that today?
Yeah, no, I feel like today we're going to have a lot more focus on maybe the immediate future of gameplay. Like that's my feeling is today is going to be more honing in on that because yesterday was more talking about some mechanics like the engine stuff that makes the game, improves the game, the quality of life of the game. But it maybe doesn't necessarily add so much gameplay, save for the engineering stuff. The engineering stuff was like obviously like what we all been waiting for like multi-group stuff. But yeah, my feeling is that like they're going to really hit us with something really big today with gameplay. So I'm excited for it.
What do you think?
I think. I think, generally speaking, yesterday felt more like Stanton focused as well.
Yeah,
because it was like everything was on Stanton. Everything was focused on what is going to happen. Like they showed off like Olisar. They showed a bunch of other stuff off. They did a little bit of Pyro stuff, obviously, with some of it. But this one, I think this one's going to be focused more on that Pyro side of things, where it's like
that makes sense.
Like life on the edge. And so we're going to see a lot more stuff focused on the gameplay in the sense of what we're going to see in the near to immediate future, but not what we already have. Not the improvements of what we have, but the advancements of what we have.
Exactly.
I think the only exception would probably be the character customization panel, but that is a brand new system that they invented from scratch. So it's going to be interesting to see that one.
It's not an update.
No, it's actually from Squadron 42. So it's they put a brand new one for it.
So I actually forgot about the living on the edge one. That panel completely slipped my mind. And going into the CitizenCon, I had said that I really hoped that was less, not just about the fact that they were going to be like, these people live in colonial outposts and like they don't have fresh water, and like more of kind of this is how factions do missions. This is how people are calling on help. This is like why the missions are different from Stanton. And I feel like now we've seen day one, I'm more confident that we'll see stuff like that. It feels like we're actually going to start to hear more about like reputation and factions. Some of the stuff that we're seeing, as weird as it is to say, feels like not further along. It feels more defined. A lot of the elements of the game, the things that they're showing us feel like they belong to a game. So I'm also kind of feeling maybe the factions and reputation sort of stuff that actually matters with Pyro will follow suit. That's kind of a hope. It's not a prediction, but I guess by the time this happens, people will probably have watched it. But.
Yeah.
I will say that today feels a lot more like the Hopium. This is going to be the Hopium tank, so they're going to roll them out onto the floor and be like, here's some hope. Like it's not just engines, it's more.
Yeah. I mean, that stuff was really, really exciting. Don't get me wrong. Yesterday left me with like so much hope for like the future of the engine, like what's going to like the way things look seem like they're working. The server meshing being shown off is actually functioning, and like I know that affected a lot of people emotionally because it is a pivotal point. And I talked about this in an earlier video. Sorry to plug myself, but what I was saying is like what I was trying to say is it's a moment for Star Citizen to prove that it can actually accomplish the things that it set out to do. Yeah. Server meshing is that foundational pillar that has to be done and working for the game to work.
Yep.
And the fact that they started working tomorrow, I know like we make fun of it saying like it's Jesus tech, but it really is like the tech the game needs to work. Will it suddenly give us lots of content? No, it's a tool. It's a technology. It enables that content. But now we know that content is possible. Multiple star systems, seamless transitions, that ability to move across like a threshold like that without any sort of like perceptible change is a big deal for the industry. Because if you play games like Atlas, there is a hard edge when you go through it, and there's like a loading screen, so you kind of get taken out of the immersion. You know you're in a game. This needs to happen for the game to feel like you're in a universe, seamlessly traveling between the stars with your friends in a spaceship. So, I'm really excited that we got all this, but we also need to know what's coming in the immediate future in terms of gameplay to improve the experience.
Yeah.
That's what I think this year has really lacked, is those tangibles. People I don't think anybody says that Star Citizen isn't beautiful. There are a few weird stragglers that say, it looks
behind.
old or
Yeah,
something.
it's
No,
very-
I think it still looks good. Yeah, it doesn't have global illumination, but trust me, when ray trace global illumination comes in, the existing models are going to pop. We could see in the presentation yesterday. It's really, lighting is such a big thing, but that's beside the point. They know it's a pretty game, but what can I do in the game? That's the thing that people always ask. So I want this day to be, it's my hope. I don't know if it's going to be this way, but my feeling is going to be, what can you do? This is what you can do. We got a little hint of that playing in the Pyro demo yesterday, you played in Rune Station.
Yeah.
I went out to Pyro 3 and Pyro 1. There was stuff to do.
Plenty of missions.
Cool missions.
Yeah.
Lots of new missions. All new missions, in fact. Maybe some of them were riffs on Stanton, but some of them felt genuinely new. So, yeah, I'm excited to learn more about that and experience it.
You were saying server meshing is kind of like a proving point in terms of technology for the game, and it feels like PES was kind of like that. Like we saw a smaller version of that in PES.
It was more of a step. I feel like all of these technologies were a step up to server meshing, and server meshing is the peak technology that Star Citizen needs.
Yeah.
Without server meshing, a big universe like with these massive ships we have that right now we can fit an entire server on wouldn't make any sense. We need to be able to have like 70 people on like an Idris and 70 people on another Idris and stuff. So it's good that we finally see, hey, we can do this. Look, this tech is working. Now, does that mean that the tech that we saw yesterday is going to translate to a bigger scale yet? Probably not. They need to make some tweaks. I'm sure they're going to find issues when that goes to a larger scale. But we know now they can do it. Like they're magicians. They've got the ability. So
really nice to see an actual demo. I was wondering how they would show it. I haven't gotten to watch it in a ton of detail yet. But
me neither.
Just the fact that they got it on video working is really good to hear. And it's kind of something that they have recently really gotten to work at how they wanted to. And it's great to know that they finally reached, like, they have legitimately passed a huge moment over the last probably 2 months that could be like the before they figured out server meshing and the after they figured out server meshing. We might be just have switched into this sort of period of like, okay, now the technology can work, like you were saying. The idea of what needs to be produced changes when server meshing becomes stable, and I'm excited for that. To finish off today, this talk, guys, let's give everybody one thing that you like are really, really set on seeing today that you feel needs to happen.
I'm not going to say it needs to happen, but I'm going to say the thing I've been saying with my tinfoil hat for the last year, which is they're going to announce Squadron. They're going to announce Squadron today.
Right.
And I'm hoping for a release date. Now, I don't know if it's actually going to happen, but the big thing I'm hoping for is gameplay footage. I want to see Squadron 42 gameplay footage and a gameplay trailer, because that's the one that'll make it more real. Because you can then, a vertical slice is 45 minutes, but a gameplay trailer is 10 minutes. You can show that over 5 minutes. You can show that to a friend and be like, this is what the game's going to be about.
Right.
It's a lot easier to get people interested in the game with a 5-minute video versus like, oh, hey, watch 45 minutes. It's like, nope.
Yeah.
So,
especially when it's not a 6-year-old vertical slice. Like, we need something updated to be able to show people.
Yeah, we need something that's feature complete, as some devs have apparently said publicly, mistakenly. So it'll be interesting to see that. I do want to see that. Of course, everything else in here is good. I really do want to see if they have an update for the hair mesh and the hair stuff. They did a little bit of that yesterday.
Yeah, but they said that was early days.
But for the character creator, or see how the character creator functions, because there's been a lot of discussions on like the DNA system currently sucks and a lot of people don't like it.
Yeah.
But, like things like, hey, this is how you can do it now, and this is like how we'll be able to save these features in the future. And if there's any kind of like ramifications, because like in the past they've talked about the idea of DNA being like, oh, you're from Magnus, here's your list from Magnus. So now if you have that like background, it will actually matter. Someone's like, oh, you look like you're from Magnus because you're from Magnus or whatever. And so that matters a lot for like role play, but it also matters for like just like little conversation bits and stuff like that. So those sorts of little details, and of course the squadrons we're looking forward to.
I really hope for that kind of stuff. The small details, especially when it comes to AI, are going to change how this game feels, because this game feels so lonely. It feels so dead. You go to a city and nothing happens. Nobody talks. Nobody interacts. Everybody's just deadpan T-posing or like in a chair. So yeah, like those little things that don't really matter, that are the things that take a game from being AA to AAA, and the things that take It reminds me, there was an episode of like Rick and Morty when this guy is walking and he's like glitching. They're in a simulation, like glitching, his head's turning around and stuff. Yeah, so that's Star Citizen. And when the AI improves and we can actually interact with them, that changes the feel of it. So I'm also looking forward to that. What about you?
I'm with Paul on this one. Like maybe for a slightly different reason, but I think you probably agree with me. For me, Squadron 42, like I want to see it announced because, like, I'm excited for it. Don't get me wrong, but the thing is that the majority of the company's resources are, I mean, they won't say this directly, but they are focused on Squadron and Star Citizen second. There's a lot of overlap, but as we've seen from last year, a lot of the stuff they worked on for Squadron still isn't in now, like the EVA stuff, for example, the FPS radar stuff, for example. Like, we saw it again today, but none of that stuff is ready. They've been working for Squadron first, Star Citizen second. So what I want to see is a Squadron announcement, because I want to see the fruit of all the money we put in through ship sales. Like, what does that look like? How far are you guys? Is it going to be good? But I also want to see it, like, actually pay for itself on sales. Like, when it actually releases, think about it, that's when it actually starts paying for itself, because for at least the past 5 years, people have been buying Star Citizen for what? Star Citizen, not for Squadron. I mean, I've met people in my community, they don't even know what Squadron is. So once that starts happening, the push that CIG has been doing to constantly do these ship sales will never go away, because money's good. But at least then that'll go towards Star Citizen, because the sales for Squadron will pay for Squadron.
Yay!
Yeah, so
we get the game that we've been paying for.
Yeah, exactly. So, but like I said, don't get me wrong, I'm really excited for Squadron. I hope we get that today, and maybe a new star system that was hinted at today at the end of the presentation. I think we might talk about Nyx. It's a very small system with, like, I think a couple areas of one landing zone, so it seems feasible.
Well, not only is it one landing zone, but it's one landing zone that we already seen.
Yeah, Delamar.
So,
all right.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to that. Well, guys, thank you so much for the quick talk here before we get started.
My pleasure.
We will be doing this again later. Yep, to talk about how the whole event went. Thanks everybody for tuning in.
No sevens.
Enjoy the show.